Welcome back to the Ohio Podcast Show. I am one of your co-hosts, the delicious Nickolicious.
There you go. I was wondering if you were going to get to that.
I was going to let you do it for me.
I'm the robust Rob Dog.
Robust?
You like that?
That's a raunchy R word.
I just thought of that right off the cuff.
I'm the raunchy Rob Dog.
It's ever so robust.
It's a hot Monday evening in Dayton, Ohio. Whew. Scorching.
Making a nice vat of ball soup over here.
Balls are sticking to the leg. You got the soupy balls. You got the salty balls.
Yeah, in case you didn't know, it's guys. When guys' balls sweat, it's ball soup. When girls' vagina sweat, it's clam chowder. So just keep that one in the.
Nice that old creamy crotch.
Yeah, you guys can borrow that if you want.
Clam chowder.
Yeah, you girls, I'm making clam chowder.
Listen. We portray ourselves as people that are completely okay with everything.
Yeah.
We get pictures of penises on Snapchat. If you want to send Rob a picture of a penis,
hey,
the username is Ohio Podcast there on Snapchat.
Tie a bow around it so it looks pretty.
Make it look nice. If you have enough room on your penis for a bow, send us a picture of it.
Yeah, make shadow puppets with it. That'd be cool.
But we make it seem like we're okay with everything, Rob.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with stinky vaginas. I can't do a stinky vagina.
Shitty kitty.
I can't do a shitty kitty. I like the bob kitties. I like the angry kitties, but I can't do a shitty kitty. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
Cemetery, he could probably do a shitty kitty.
Which is, I'm sure, a lot of females can do funky balls. So it's like, hey.
I often wonder about that.
Yeah.
I would imagine for a woman, because I've never 69 with a man before, sober, but I can imagine doing 69 with a man is that's probably traumatic.
Especially if the guy's a top. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. There's only one way I like to do this, and that's where I'm on top of you and your nose is buried in my taint.
That's exactly all it is.
How you like the smell of my fruit bowl? And papaya's been sitting in there for a few days, getting awful hot out. Dude, that's so nasty.
Watch out for the dingleberries.
I am never 69 with a guy ever. Even if there's...
I have never topped with a guy.
There's money involved, I probably would, but
I'm always the bottom.
Get on top. This episode is brought to you in part by our Patreon subscribers. Woo!
Real heroes.
We'll start with Rebecca Scruggs. Thank you, Rebecca, for your Patreon.
Next, we got Rosemary Robinson. Thank you very much.
Rosemary, thank you so much, Rosemary. Ryan Cronin. Ryan, thank you so much.
Janine White. Thank you very much, Miss White.
And Rob set this up where I'd have to pronounce this one. Lauren Distelkamp. That looks German.
That looks sounds good to me, I
it
should
looks
say.
Polish, yeah.
Yeah. And we got Adrian Lopez. Thank you very much.
And Virgin Deaton.
Virgil
Deaton. Thank you, Virg.
Sure, old Virgil.
And we're having a sweepstakes for Virgil. We're going to be selling his virginity here on the Ohio Podcast Show. If you would like to be the highest bidder in the virginity of Virgil Deaton, that's Virgil Deaton. Write us at the Gmail, brohiopodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you would do to Virgil to pierce his hymen.
We got Joey Hackworth. Thank you.
Old Hackworth the Jackworth. These people pay us to make fun of their names.
I know, it's horrible. I feel bad.
And James Liberator. He's the ultimate liberal.
Just liberator.
He's probably a gun-toting, tobacco-spitting, fucking backwoods hunting, and his last name's Liberator.
I know.
But nonetheless, James Liberator, thank you so much for your pledge, brother. We do appreciate you.
Yeah.
This thing is, last week we had the most downloads we've ever had. We broke our single day. We broke our weekly.
Hey,
people like the true crime. And we had a lot of people reach out to us last week and said, this is the absolute best episode you guys have done.
I think it's because everybody agrees that that guy was a piece of shit.
Yeah, he was.
Except for the interview.
Yeah. The interview didn't go that bad, though.
No, it wasn't bad at all.
She
was great.
Hopefully she listens again. She wrote us on Snapchat. She said, thanks for giving me an outlet.
I just hope we didn't dig into him too hard for her sake.
Yeah. I think the majority probably liked what we did.
Yeah. I
can understand someone that has a personal relationship with him.
Absolutely.
And that's why, we tried to tread lightly when I interviewed her. She seemed happy with it. She's been really receptive to us after the fact.
Yeah, she seemed a little relieved that after listening to the podcast and how you went about the interview that it was you didn't go, it wasn't resembling kind of like how we went after him. So.
Right. That's good. And we're happy that it was such a good week last week.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for cheering us on. That means the world to us. I don't know how the hell this happened. This is something really small.
I'm still trying to figure it out myself.
And unlike my dick, it's still
small.
It's not small anymore. Wait a sec. Wait,
check it right now. See if it is.
Yeah, I can feel it. Like when I go to grab it, it's not there.
Yeah, it's just like a little wiggling worm.
But it's a big motherfucker now. So big. We got a live show October 27th. It's called Brohia's Twisted Hillbilly Halloween.
What a name.
Yeah, that's Jerry Polly working for you right there, buddy.
That's with our good friends Jerry and Tracy from Hillbilly Horror Stories, and then we have Twisted Philly on there.
Dina Marie,
thank you.
From Twisted Philly.
It's going to be great. It's going to be a good time.
And her husband is Jeremy, who's in charge of podcasts we listen to, which is the biggest fucking podcast closed group in the world.
It's pretty crazy.
There's some snobby people on there, but there's some really good people on there.
There really is.
They're like, I want to listen to something funny. And I'm like, try. And I started to pretend type, and I halted our recording, but I'm like,
completely stopped it.
Try listening to Brohio. They're like, I've tried Brohio, and I can't do it because the hosts are stupid.
Well, you win some, you lose some.
You are right about that. Okay, I'll give you that. We got a review this week that said, phenomenal fucking show, horrible researchers. Still a 5-star. I respect you.
Hey, that's, you get what you get. Some weeks it's a win, some weeks it's a toss-up in the air.
Sometimes I feel like I put a lot of work into the research some weeks, and then other weeks I'm like, copy and paste.
Yeah.
Copy and paste. Yeah. Copy and paste. But if you would like to come to the live show on October 27th, go to Eventbrite. You just do a little Google search, Eventbrite /Brohio. Tickets they're over halfway gone, okay?
Come have a beer with us.
We're 3 months away from this piece of shit.
Share some chicken wings. I'll even eat off of the same wing as you. And we can meet in the middle, and then we can touch lips.
And when he's done doing that with you,
he'll eat your ass.
I'll eat your chicken wing. I'll eat whatever you want me to eat. Just as long as you're not a female.
Hey-o.
Jerry, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, and we're gonna if you dress up, you get bonus points.
Yeah, me and Rob are dressing up. We don't know. We were thinking Dumb and Dumber, but I'm not sure yet.
We'll figure it out.
Last week we solicited your shit stories. We got a whole bunch of shit stories. So many shit stories that we didn't have a chance to pour through all the shit stories.
They're still coming in as we speak.
But the shit stories were paused because we have a shit news story. This was, we always wait for the poop news stories. This was the ultimate upon ultimate poop stories.
All right.
And of course, I think it's coming from England, wherever the fuck a red car is. I would imagine that's England. Either that or some, third world Fast and the Furious nation. A drunk continually whacked his penis against a car and did a poo on the floor as the women inside the vehicle ate their chips.
This has to be England.
I was just sitting there eating my chips, and he started beating his little wet willy against the window so much that he ejaculated into my chips.
It dropped the poo on the floor.
He was not a connoisseur of pineapples. The cat's over there beating the shit out of her cat box. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
John Henson had been on a marathon drinking session when he ruined the women's seaside trip to Red Car. Without warning, he opened his trousers and began whacking his genitals against the car door. Teesside Magistrates Court heard. The driver called the man a dirty bastard and threw some chips toward him, shut her window, and then screamed for her mum, a passenger in the car, to do the same. Prosecutor Rachel Dodsworth said Henson, age 44, continued to wiggle his penis around and then tried to get in the car through the window. Panicked, the women shouted for Henson to go away and tried to move the car parked off Central Terrace near Red Car's clock tower, but they were blocked in. Boom, boom, boom. At this point, he dropped his trousers, turned and bent forward, and took a big creamy dragon shit in the street right next to the fucking car. The bizarre series of events unfolded at around midday on June 29th, close to Henson's home at Henson Mews Red Car.
Redcar is in England. You're right. It's in North Yorkshire,
home of the they're not circumcised there, Rob.
Yeah.
I think that's the consensus I'm getting from England.
Their accents make up for it, though. It's all right.
Exactly. The court also heard Henson shouted obscene sexual remarks as the women before he eventually calmed down. The women, not from the area, they're probably from Dayton, so they used to enjoy coming to Redcar for fish and chips, but their idyllic day out was sullied. In a statement read to the court, one of the victims said, "It was obscene and disgusting. I normally go to Redcar with my grandchildren." Big mama shrimp. There's some shrimp. Why do we have to always eat fish and chips when there's so much shrimp readily available? But I was glad I didn't bring them this time. The dirty bastard put me off going to Redcar, and it put me off my dinner. Jesus. How ugly of a dick do you have to ruin someone's dinner?
I think it was the shit.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. That stuff doesn't bother me, see. Another witness said this was an embarrassment for the town of Redcar. A probation report prepared about Henson said he had been to a nightclub until 4:30 that morning. God, getting it in like a true motherfucker player. Carried on drinking alone until 8 a.m., and took cocaine before going to a friend's house.
Well, that'll initiate dragon shit mode.
He is disgusted with himself, a probation worker told the court on Tuesday. He says he had a difficult childhood growing up in Guisborough. Where the fuck is Guisborough? He says when he drinks, he drinks heavily. Oh, come to America, brother.
Alcohol shits are the worst.
Jesus.
They're bad.
John Nixon, mitigating, said Henson has been an alcoholic since he was 22.
My dude.
And he also mentioned a difficult childhood. He said he fully admitted his crimes and showed remorse. District Judge Christina Harris said, "I'm sure having heard all of that, you realize how unpleasant your behavior was towards these women. They found it extremely distressing, and can you blame them?"
No, I cannot.
So I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I just bent over and took me a big old shit right in the middle of the road. He was given an 18-month community order with 6 months supervision and 25 rehabilitation activity days. That sounds like fun, actually.
Good for him.
Dodgeball and stuff.
Yeah.
Henson, who pleaded guilty to indecent exposure and being drunk and disorderly, was also ordered to pay the 3 women in the car, as well as a passerby, 100 pounds in compensation.
Does that make them prostitutes?
100 pounds of cocaine.
I'm going to give you $100 to watch me whack my Jimmy against your car and shit.
And if you don't like what I'm about to do here in the street, then you're really not going to like when I'm about to squat over and take me a big old shit right here. You don't like watching me wiggle my dick around. You really ain't going to like when my asshole drops some sludge out of it.
Good old ass sludge.
Some goose butter.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know about the goose butter over there in England, buddy.
I don't think we've talked about what this week's episode is about. Well, obviously, you're going to be able to tell by this title, but...
I don't remember what it is.
I don't either. No, I do. It's near-death experiences and reincarnation.
In this episode, we're going to do a special interview with Jesus.
Oh.
Jesus Christ the Carpenter, not Jesus Christ the Messiah.
Yeah, you guys have been waiting for it? With bated breath?
He is here. I'm so excited to interview Jesus.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Fancy Jesus.
One for the record books.
Oh, my God, yes. Now, when I'm looking up near-death experiences on the YouTubes and the interwebs,
yep,
I get videos of people wrecking on bikes and shit. So
okay.
It's kind of hard to find anything good to...
Yeah.
I did find one thing kind of heart-touching.
All right.
Someone that crossed over and he came back. This stuff's going to all web together. There's going to be a weave. There's fucking ghosts and shit.
Hey.
I don't know where we're going with it, Rob.
So sensitive. There's fucking ghosts and shit.
there's
dead people. There's
people dying.
There's corpses. There's
Brits pooping in the road. We got a little bit of everything.
It's a fucking goodie bag of entertainment.
I haven't got a fucking clue how good or bad this is going to be.
You're going to regret this hour.
Yeah.
But you ain't ever going to get it back.
Right. Or maybe the next 2 hours. If you listened last week, that one went 2 hours.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Jesus.
Sometimes I like when we throw those long ones out there, if you know what I mean.
They are. Yeah. The people are ready for a long one.
Aren't they?
Especially from us.
Yeah. We've been letting them down for so long.
Yeah. Oh, here all this time, I thought these guys probably had big wieners. And the one, he finally sent me a picture of his wiener. And it was caved up inside of him like he got kicked in the nuts by a really big pair of boots. His wiener actually went inside of him. I can't make sense of it. Maybe that's why he's a podcast host, because he can't be a porn star.
It looked like a balloon after you blow it up and let all the air out.
I like when people, you like, there's always that one guy at work, you're like making fun of him for having really small dick. He's like, yeah, but I got big old fucking balls. You're like, that guy definitely has a little dick. He's just so defensive about it. I got a big old set of fucking balls right here, though. If you want to.
I've never heard a female say, you know, his penis is kind of small, but he's got huge balls.
Jesus Christ. He asked if he could put his balls in me, and when he did, I nearly fucking bled out. Like, I thought it was his foot. I swear to God, I felt his knee just right where all the skin from your butthole comes together. I feel his knee go past that, I thought. But it was his balls, Sandy. It was his balls.
Oh, man.
We've got big balls here at the Brohio Podcast Show, and if you've never listened to the Brohio Podcast before, this is your chance to turn back. We did have
You've gone too far already.
Some people can't leave us reviews, so they leave us comments on Podbean.
Yeah.
There was one this week that said, this is my first time listening to these guys, and this is a little fucking weird. Stick around!
Oh, it's only going to get weirder from here.
We keep it light, we keep it funky, we keep it fresh. We like to break it down, cut it up, chop it up, snort it. We do everything with it, so just hang out with us.
We lose a little bit more of our sanity each week. If you listen through our catalog, it's like a slow mental breakdown. We're slowly going into psychosis.
Oh, we have no fucking clue what we're doing.
Now we have no hope.
Anyways, according to the International Association for Near-Death Studies, yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Guess what, you fucking assholes? No research from Wikipedia this week.
Woo!
Yeah. But we did get some from the International Association for Near-Death Studies. A near-death experience, or a NDE, yeah.
Stupid acronym.
Is a profound psychological event that may occur to a person close to death or who is not near death, but in a situation of physical or emotional crisis. Being in a life-threatening situation does not, by itself, constitute a near-death experience. It is the pattern of perceptions creating a recognizable overall event that has been called near-death experience. So this isn't when you're riding down the face of the mountain and you fucking lock up the brakes on the 10-speed and you flip over the front and you wreck like a stupid fucking crackhead on the sidewalks of Boston.
I've done that before. Not in Boston, but in Florida.
It was in Boston, you bastards.
Yeah. I like the way the noise made when I put my foot on my front tire as I was driving. And it got sucked into the bicycle frame, and then I went head first.
Dude, when we were kids,
busted my chin open, my mom passed out. It was great.
They would always try and get me to go ride bikes. I'm like, listen, fam, I got a fucking Sega Genesis inside. This motherfucker is humming. I got Sonic plugged into that motherfucker, okay? I got the Turbo Fire controller where I flip the switch up and it pushes the button over and over and over. I'm not going riding bikes with you.
Right.
You guys are coming back with cuts on your head, your fucking knees on your jeans torn out. I'm not doing it. You catch me inside playing Vector Man and Madden on the fucking Sega, okay?
Dude, Sega Madden was the best.
You know, Emmett Smith would just roll motherfuckers, okay?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Roll. So, like I just said before about the near-death experiences, it's not, if you get in a car crash and hit your fucking head, that's not a near-death. Sure it is. You're close. That's just being close to dying.
Yeah, I mean, that's being on the verge of dying, but it's not having like an out-of-body like near-death experience.
Yeah, every time I tie my shoes and it lasts longer than 17 seconds, that's me about fucking dying right now.
Yeah, right.
Because I got to hold my breath, bend over, all that blood gets stuck up top. It's a tremendous time to get that done.
Mm-hmm. I feel you.
It's awful. It's awful. Now, often these NDEs, that sounds like a really nasty street gang right there. Yeah, man, I got this cut up on my face from when these motherfuckers from the NDE cut my fucking face off. Cut my face off. He wore it around. He was out there tongue kissing these other dudes' assholes and shit, but he's wearing my face. Now I'll be walking down the street with my face back, and these motherfuckers like, hey, Antoine, come over here and lick my ass like you did the other day. I said, that wasn't me, bro. That was the dude from the NDE that cut my face off and wore it around. He's eating your asshole like that. I ain't do that shit. I don't be eating assholes and shit. You know what I'm saying? I'll eat your mom's pussy, but I ain't be eating another dude's asshole.
Good for him. What to say to that?
Good for him.
Good for him.
Often these will start as an out-of-body experience. I don't think I've ever had an out-of-body experience before.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
A lot of people say for these near-death experiences, you're moving at a great speed through a dark space. There's a fantastic landscape, and you may encounter beings that may be considered sacred. You're going to encounter deceased family. I read a lot about that. Or some unknown entities altogether. Now, you may encounter indescribable radiant light that surrounds you.
All right, that's fun.
I just feel like that's the peace of heaven just descending upon you, Rob. It's just heaven.
It's just the heavenly glow.
Now, they say you can't see the light, but a lot of people claim that you feel the presence of the light.
Okay.
More than you see the light. And then you have the other end of the spectrum here, which is what Rob and I are interested in. There's the people that may experience what we call hell. There's going to be a lot of terror, a lot of anxiety. There's going to be some despair.
Sign me up.
Rob and I, we're going to get there at the pearly gates. We're going to, all right, we're ready to come in and drink up all your fucking Mountain Dew. And they're going to be like, no. A spot for you downstairs. And they're going to send us down there to hell. Now, a lot of these near-death experiences from the people that experience hell, I don't want to fucking go there, man. I don't know if hell's real or not. After listening to all these stories, I don't know what to believe, Rob.
And that's the thing, you never know. You're never really going to know.
We're going to get into all this later.
That's why the human race is we're so interested with it.
Please don't say race on this podcast.
Sorry.
Now, there has to be you have to be able to differentiate between a hallucination and what is an actual near-death experience. Now, sometimes you get stoned off your fucking balls. I remember there was one instance where I was just going crazy.
You're going crazy. Yeah. More poop stories?
Oh no, it's my phone. I downloaded this new thing that tells me when my battery's full. And yeah. My battery's full. I won't stop.
Good to know.
Now, you get stoned and you just lay there and you're like, oh man, I'm fucking floating and shit. Now, that's an hallucination. There's going to be, a cloudy, you're going to have a hard time remembering how it actually went. Where a near-death experience where you're marching towards a light, that's going to be a much more vivid experience. And I remember as a kid in my dad's transmission shop, there was always a bottle of tequila with a worm in it, sitting next to the fucking desk.
Don't eat the worm.
And I'm like, Dad, why is there you got fucking bugs in your shit, man? He's like, no, some guys drink that. I'm like, what happens when you drink that? He's like, you sit on the toilet and you'll see God. I remember being a little kid and him telling me this, and my whole entire life, I'm like, just one time I want to sit down on the toilet and see God. If I could just find some yellow piss water.
So you just drink all the tequila in the bottle and...
Right. And then I kept talking about it. That day as a kid, I'm like, oh, the worm, get back, don't touch the fucking worm. I think I played hooky that day and my dad had to take me to work. And then one of his employees, he walked by, he's like, you know what you're supposed to do with that, right? And I'm like, yeah, you drink it, you see God. He's like, yeah, watch this. He fucking popped it and drank it. And my dad's like, that shit's 50 fucking years old, man. You're gonna fucking die. Get back to work. Get the shit done before you die. So I want to get some worm. I want to eat the worm.
You want to get some worm.
I want to go out and get some worm. I want to get a little bit of worm.
I think that's somebody's Tinder profile.
Come and get the worm. Swipe. I don't even know how to use Tinder.
I want the worm. I have no idea.
People are like, swipe right. I don't know which way you swipe if you like someone.
Yeah. I fucked Ricky's whole night up because I swiped the wrong way, thinking it was the right way.
If I
just swiped a bunch of swamp donkeys.
Jesus Christ! Sometimes my wife's dressed just right. I'll do some serious swiping on my fucking dick. Swipe, motherfucker! Got that screen all messy. Oh, I don't even know where I'm at, Rob.
I don't either.
In a well-publicized case in 1991, Atlanta-based singer-songwriter Aretha Franklin... No, I made that up. Singer... I didn't even write this lady's name down. That's why. Her name was Pam something. Someone you've never heard of that's fucking dead now. She did not die from this, but she is dead now. She was the victim of a huge brain aneurysm at the base of her brainstem.
Ooh.
And they said, at any moment, like, you have a 99.9% chance of plopping over and dying right now. Or you could get the standard surgery for this aneurysm, which there is a 2% chance of you living. Now, there was a neurosurgeon named Robert Spetzler at the Barrow Neurological Institute in Phoenix, Arizona. He was a specialist in hypothermic cardiac arrest, or as they like to call it in the medical world, Operation Standstill. This is where they bring the body to a temperature so low that you're legally dead. And at this point, there's a lot of different procedures they can perform on you that are a lot more safe, but you're dead. So it definitely gets, anytime you got to partake in something that involves you being dead, a little fucking sketchy, Rob. It's a little sketchy for me.
I would say so, yeah. I wouldn't be comfortable with that.
You're filling out your paperwork. You're like, smoker? No. Drinker? Yeah, a lot. Are you okay if we have to kill you for this?
Do you care if you die?
Like, how much extra is that going to cost? That's what I would ask, because I'm a cheap fuck. Like,
yeah.
How much extra would that cost if I do this without wanting to die?
Does this my copay cover this?
Yeah. Now, I guess what they do here is the brain, it can survive a lot longer without the oxygen at the temperatures they put you at. The low temperature that they for her specific procedure would soften the blood vessels, allowing the doctors to operate with little risk of bursting the vessel. Now, at approximately 7:15 a.m., the morning of the operation, she was placed in the OR and given anesthesia. There were 20 nurses and physicians that entered the surgery in the OR room, and they went to work. This part kind of turned me on. It said they lubricated her. They lubricated her eyeballs and taped them shut to prevent them from drying. Oh, that's so fucking hot.
Well, I mean, nice lubed up eyeball.
Yeah. Now
so sexy.
There was EEG electrodes that were placed on her to monitor the electrical activity of her cerebral cortex. And I said that correctly on the first try. There were molded earbuds that were placed in each one of her ears to emit 100 decibel.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That's the same as a speeding express train.
Blow her fucking eardrums out.
Yeah. If we can't fix her brain, we're going to turn it into a big old soup fucking sandwich. Just and earbuds, dude. God damn. Fucking when she gets out. Did I do okay, or am I not okay no more? You're fine, but you're fucking deaf. Can you hear us? No, I can hear that. You're deaf now. I'm dead? No, you're deaf. I'm dead. You're not dead. You're deaf. I'm so sorry for all this. Now, the specific reason for the 100 decibel noises in the brain was to eliminate outside sounds altogether. At 8:40 a.m., they started cutting on Pam's skull. See, her name was Pam. It was not Aretha Franklin, like I first stated. At this moment, at 8:40 a.m., she felt herself pop out of her body.
Oh, look at that fine piece of ass there on the table. Oh, that's me.
Yeah, I'm about to go down there and give me some of that.
I'm looking like a snack.
Little sneaky snack down there.
Got my brain all open and exposed to the elements.
You ain't going nowhere, you nasty bitch. She was hovering above her body, watching the procedure. And she recalls that she didn't like the way that they shaved her head. She watched it all go down, man. She was pissed off about the way that they cut her hair.
I wanted my head shaved like Skrillex, not Sinead O'Connor. Yeah. Come on.
I wanted some goddamn lightning bolts in the side.
Draw a Nike symbol.
About the time they started to cut through the outer membrane of the brain, a female cardiac surgeon was attempting to locate the femoral artery in the right groin. That's right next to the entrance to the pussy and the groin there.
Layman's terms, I like it. Thank you.
Some people don't know what a groin is. If you're listening to us right now on the Brahaya Podcast, now I want you to reach down and touch where you pee out of. Move about 4 inches to the right or the left. That's your groin.
Go ahead and rub on your femoral artery for us.
Yeah. Now, she couldn't find the femoral artery in the right groin. I'm a left groin kind of guy anyways.
Yeah.
So the head surgeon said switch groins, which the cardiac doctor did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did.
And Pam reported in her story afterwards, she said she heard the surgeon say, "We have a problem." And she also heard the other surgeon say, "Try the other side." Now, they collaborated with what she heard to the medical records and the recordings from that day, and everything that she heard was completely the same as what was in the medical records.
Nice.
So she collaborated everything she heard was verbatim, what they said, which is completely fucking crazy to me.
Yeah.
She's got fucking trains and automobiles screaming in her ear. She's got people digging in her groin, but she's got the potatoes to say, I hear all this.
Try the other pussy lip.
Wrong pussy. That's my mom's pussy.
Not her front butt.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Oh, let me move that for you real quick. That's my fupa. That's where I hide my cheese sandwiches. What you do is you just lift this big old piece of flap up right here. It's kind of, right there. It's like crocodile skin. We're not gonna find much right there. I can't even wash that. That's soap suds getting there. It gets real nasty. Makes it stink. It smells like, you ever smell your belly button after ain't showered for about 3 or 4 days? That's what it smells right under that flap.
Oh, how you turned into Alex Jones.
If you're not familiar with what a fupa is, that's a fat upper pussy area, or it can be a fat upper penis area.
Yeah.
And if you really want to upset, an overweight person you don't like, walk up to him and snatch him right by the fupa, and just start fucking shaking it like it's a fucking stack of money. And make this sound. They really like that. And that's a fantastic way to upset them.
All right, I believe it.
Now, she was placed on a cardiopulmonary bypass machine, and the blood was taken from her body into the machine and cooled down. The blood was put back into her body to lower her overall body temperature. At 11:05 a.m., her body temperature got low enough that her brain activity and her heart stopped. Her EEG, the brain waves associated with the EEG, they completely flattened into total silence. A few minutes later, her brainstem became totally unresponsive, and her body temperature fell to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That's low. That's really fucking low.
That's really low.
That's like Walt Disney cold right there, buddy.
Yeah, that's like 38 degrees lower than what it should be.
At 11:25 a.m., the team tilted up the head of the operating table, turned off the bypass machine, and drained the blood from her body. Pamela Reynolds was clinically dead. Her name was Pamela Reynolds, not Aretha Franklin, like I first thought. This moment is when she started having her near-death experience. She was whisked away from the OR table, and she said that this is her own testimony here, that she was traveling down a dark tunnel, and she was greeted by dead relatives at the end of the tunnel.
What a shitty way to go.
All these years of me taking care of your stupid fucking dog that you left me with, the thing pisses on the fucking carpet. The first person she met was her grandma, that she was, she loved her. Who doesn't love their grandma? She loved her grandma, and that was the first person that greeted her there at the pearly gates. She entered the presence of a brilliant, wonderfully warm and loving light, and sensed that her soul was part of God, and that everything in existence was created from the light. Or what she also said, the light was the breath of God, was God breathing. Yeah. I got halitosis, but I'll fucking kill some fucking dinosaurs right now if you want me to. But this extraordinary experience ended abruptly as Reynolds' deceased uncle led her back to her body, a feeling she described as plunging into a pool of ice. He said, "Listen, I'm real sorry I fucked you real good.
I was going to go there, but
but I made it into heaven, because after I was done tearing your ass in two, I said, Jesus, I did not mean to have sex with her. She's wearing that My Little Pony pajama set, real nice, her butt cheeks hanging out. Mama don't put her in panties. She's 16 years old, dressing up in that My Little Pony shit. That's the age of consent right here in Arkansas. I thought it was okay." And he let her back, and he said, "No, it's not your time, sweetheart." And that's a lot of the stories that I read. They get to heaven, and one of these fucking assholes from their past says, "It's not your turn. It's not your time to go.
Bitch, that ain't for you to decide.
Right.
If I want to go, I want to go.
Uncle Ted, just like you did not ask to fuck my ass whenever I was 6, I am not asking to come into heaven. I'm just kicking the motherfucking door in, and I'm going hard. Meanwhile, in the operating room, the surgery had come to an end. When all the blood had drained from Pam's brain, the aneurysm simply collapsed, and Spetzler clipped it off. Soon the bypass machine was turned on, and warm blood was pumped back into her body. As her body temperature started to increase, her brain's I'm sorry, I did not do a solid job of fucking fixing my...
Her brainstem.
Yeah.
Her brainstem?
Her brainstem began to respond to the clicking speakers in her ears, and the EEG recorded electrical activity in the cortex. The bypass machine was turned off at 12:32 p.m., and Aretha, her life had been restored, and she was taken to the recovery room in stable condition at 2:10 p.m.
Just in time for Price is Right.
Just in time. Come on now!
I have no idea. I think it's on in the morning. I'm just being stupid.
It is. It comes on at 11 a.m. So I know that. So, and she reports she eventually died from, I believe it was some type of heart condition.
They didn't even fix the reason they killed her for.
But it was years and years later.
Oh, okay.
It was a substantial time later.
R.I.P. Aretha.
Yeah. Now, there was lots of different near-death experiences that I come across, and here's one on YouTube with kind of it seems like some fucking ignorant hillbilly in the backwoods of West Virginia. So let's go ahead and play that clip for you.
All right.
It gives you the chills.
A patient on the brink of death.
He had no heart rate. He had no blood pressure. He had no pulse. I mean, think about that.
Like something scripted in Hollywood, says intensive care unit nurse Emily Bishop.
He was down for close to 45 minutes.
During which time, he claims he traveled beyond this world and back.
Well, he was telling me that he loved me and that he'd seen the light and that he had seen my mom and my dad. And I lost it at that point in time because I just lost my mom.
The week after burying his mother-in-law, Brian Miller returned to work, delivering metal here in Streetsboro.
I was feeling fine. And then when I undid the tarp and pulled the tarp off, I started getting the tightness.
Probably the cold air or asthma, he thought.
I got your metal
until
here.
The intense pain started.
I'm a truck driver, and I think I'm having a heart attack.
Brian was having a massive heart attack. His main artery entirely blocked, known as the Widowmaker.
He was in obvious distress when we found him.
Streetsboro firefighters and paramedics put the hospital on alert.
Got to get real aggressive with our protocols and got him to the hospital as soon as we could.
Can be life or death.
Dr. William Wolf rushed Brian into surgery here at University Hospital's Ahuja Medical Center.
We want to open up the vessel as soon as possible.
Here's the blockage being cleared and blood flow restored.
Man, the pain just started slowly going down.
They told him that he did good by getting here as soon as he did.
There's some Skittles stuck in there.
Not only did Brian survive the heart attack and emergency surgery, he was already up and talking. He was doing fine until he suddenly wasn't.
I saw it come across the screen. I ran in there.
Brian was experiencing a fatal arrhythmia called VFib, ventricular fibrillation.
Basically, his heart rate goes like this, and it's just this like scribble. And his heart is just kind of like quivering in there. It's not able to pump, it's not doing anything.
Emily called Code Blue.
CPR, CPR, CPR. Strong, hard, fast CPR.
A half a dozen nurses and doctors also responded.
Pushing a whole bunch of medications to basically restart his heart.
But at just 41, the husband and father of 3 was slipping away.
The only thing I remember is I started seeing the light and started walking towards the light.
While the ICU team tried to revive Brian, he claims he was walking along a heavenly path lined with flowers, then stopped by a familiar face.
She was the most beautiful thing when I seen her. It was like the first day I met her, and looked so happy.
His mother-in-law, Kay, who had just passed away.
She grabbed a hold of my arm and she told me, it's not your time. You don't need to be here. We need to take you back. You got things to go home and do.
And after what felt like 15 minutes,
Her husband Jack was back there waving at me, giving me a smile, and she just telling me to go home. It walked me back.
but at the hospital, time was running out. Or so everyone thought.
We shocked him 4 times. And on the 4th time, it still didn't work. And then out of nowhere, he got his pulse back.
A normal heartbeat after nearly 45 minutes.
It's pretty awesome to see.
Even more incredible was Brian's condition.
So if you think about that, his brain had no oxygen for 45 minutes. So the fact that he is up, walking, talking, laughing, everything, I mean, that's amazing.
As is Brian's memory of the white light.
And I just totally broke down. And I went and sat down because I totally lost it when he told me that.
But Brian says there's no reason to feel sad. The experience has changed his entire outlook on life and death.
There is an afterlife, and people need to believe in it big time.
He says
Big
he's
time.
eternally grateful to the medical staff and his mother-in-law for this second chance.
I need to be here a lot more longer. I got 3 wonderful daughters and a wife.
And in the end, he says, that's all that really matters.
Love, very much love.
Yeah, big
In
time.
Beechwood, Suzanne Stratford, Fox 8 News.
Big time.
Love, very much love.
There, what was the name of the burger that I ate right before I died? Right before my heart took a big old shit. It was big time.
I just love that. The Widowmaker. That's so fucking crazy sounding. That's great.
It's if your Widowmaker's clogged up, it's a fucking wrap, dude. Now on the other side of the spectrum here, we have this is a story of Jeffrey. He was 19 years old. He attempted to commit suicide after finding out his girlfriend was cheating on him with his best friend. After he swallowed a lot of pills, his mother realized what had happened and called an ambulance. Jeffrey saw a doctor standing over him, he recalled in a post on the Near Death Experience Research Foundation's website. He seemed to leave his body and enter the doctor. I went into him. Oh, god damn, this is getting kinky. And saw images of his wife, his kids, and his car. I felt the panic in him. His spirit seemed to leave his body and enter the doctor's body, allowing him to read the doctor's mind. A spirit being took his hand and pulled him away. He could see his own body and a doctor and a nurse working to revive him. The being took him into a column of light. At first, he was in a place that he thought was heaven with cloud-like walls. He saw his grandmother there. But then he was in a foul-smelling field with people who had jackal faces.
Oh,
Yeah, this is what... Yeah!
about to turn good.
A demonic creature grabbed him and brought him to a place with a bunch of cubes stacked up. A demonic creature told him each person gets a custom-made hell. He told me this was hell.
That's thoughtful.
Yeah, you don't just get one single hell. Everyone gets their own hell.
Hey, it's custom made. I like that.
Yeah, he told me this was hell, and in every cube was a custom-made hell for every soul. He explained that people adapt to every kind of hell, and some people are more tolerant of some things than others, so hell is ever-changing. He took great joy out of watching people suffer. That's great news, that no matter how fucked up we are, there's a special place in the afterlife that's worse than what we're dealing with right here.
That's shitty enough, like based off of our own.
Yeah, I know. Jeffrey was sucked into one of the cubes where people fed him rank food and laughed.
He was a foodie, so obviously he didn't want to eat anything bad.
Not like Hot Pockets, no! Disgusting. And the middle's cold. Then he was shown flashes of all the bad things he'd ever done. Quote, I was being put in other people's shoes as I was doing bad things to them.
Good thing we got an eternity to work that out, because I was a fucking asshole growing up.
No kidding. I could see how insensitive I was to people and didn't even know it. It was excruciating and overwhelming to relive things that I'd forgotten about or just didn't care about. I was made to feel the way I made others feel, he said. Then he was kneeling in a cave with other people around him also kneeling. I saw a girl kneeling with her wrists cut, a man with a rope around his neck, and another with the back of his head blown out. I could hear screaming from the cave ahead, and I was trying to get one of these people to talk to me and tell me where I was. One of them told me to be quiet or I would be next. Then a huge, ugly demon reached out of the cave, grabbed them, and dragged them into the cave. When he closed his eyes, he was suddenly overwhelmed again by the visions of the bad things he had done. He realized that's why everyone there was wide-eyed, because they would also experience these visions if they closed their eyes. You cannot close your eyes. You cannot talk to others. You cannot stand up. You cannot sit down. You could only kneel there on the tips of your toes and the points of your knees. All you could do was stare at the hole of fire, listen to the screams, and hope you're not next, Jeffrey said. God, that's rough.
That's rough.
That is rough. We've talked about this before. I was raised kind of in the church a little bit, and that's kind of the way they portray hell in the Bible, and that's what the way they want you to believe it is.
Right.
If it is a real thing.
Yeah.
And I have some other stories here pertaining to hell. Lots of people deal with like four-legged creatures that kind of roam the floor and they tear your flesh off to, rip at you as you're walking through these like sludgy fields, and that if this guy, Jeffrey, is correct about each person kind of having their own personal hell, I don't know. It's terrifying, really.
Yeah, definitely.
The thought that we could potentially be wrong. You kind of know how I feel about religion.
Yeah.
You just don't fucking care at all.
Nah. I'll worry about it when I die.
I'm a little bit torn by it,
No, I find it, I find it extremely interesting. I'll kind of go into what I believe after everything's wrapped up.
All right.
And we'll go from there. But yeah, I mean, it's overall, it's just, it's the fear of the unknown. You have no idea what's going to happen to you.
Exactly. And that's all life is in general, is fear of the unknown, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's also another thing I wanted to touch on called quantum consciousness. Some versions of quantum consciousness hold that our mind is not strictly the product of our brain and that consciousness exists separately from material substance. So the death of your physical body is not the end of your conscious existence. So that's the belief that even before you are Rob and even before I am Nick, our souls exist. That our souls live before we were here, and our souls are going to live after we're here.
Okay.
And that almost goes along the lines of what you're going to touch on, reincarnation.
Yeah.
And then there's the scientific explanation, which I've heard this theory before. Over time, the scientific literature that attempts to explain near-death experiences as a result of physical changes in a stressed or dying brain, they say that when you get to this certain state of near-death, this causes an oxygen shortage, imperfect anesthesia, and this is a product of imperfect anesthesia, and the body's neurochemical responses to the trauma. And they say it produces a chemical similar to ketamine, which is like a fucking horse tranquilizer that all the kids are putting in their assholes at college parties and shit. And when you're experiencing that chemical in your brain, it creates like this euphoric state, just like ketamine. So when people say they have a near-death experience, they die and they went to the light, in all actuality, it could just be that last grasp at life, this chemical that your brain is putting out, and you're just experiencing this completely perfect euphoria of everything that feels right, just complete relief, And just like Rob and I were watching an interview with Kevin Smith.
Yeah, Kevin Smith, yep.
With
Joe Rogan's podcast.
Joe Rogan, where he was on the brink of death himself.
Yeah. I think he had the same heart.
Right.
The Widowmaker.
And he was speaking about a story where his mother passed away on the operating table, and she didn't say anything about a light. She just spoke of all of the responsibilities of life just completely gone away. She did feel that. Mm-hmm. She just felt complete relief,
just at peace
from everything.
Yeah.
There was nothing that mattered. She was floating through time, and there was nothing to worry about in life ever again. And I hope that's how death is. You just go out and they turn off the fucking lights, and your last feeling is just, oh, I did it.
Finally.
I'm not alive anymore, and this feels fucking great. Not that I want to die.
Yeah.
Because I'll touch on this later as well. And then there was the study by Duncan McDougal. He did the 21 grams experiment. That's where he took a Ziploc baggie full of 21 grams of cocaine and he shoved it up his ass. And then he would swallow razor blades. And he would see how long it would take for the cocaine to get the bag to get cut open and for him to absorb the cocaine through his ass.
All right.
He died. He didn't have a near-death experience. But in all actuality here, Duncan McDougal, he did the experiment where he would weigh people before they died. He would find all these people.
Yeah.
And he would weigh them. He would find people right on the brink of death.
The weight of your soul.
Yes. Not like, hey, I got cancer. I got 6 months left. All right, let's hop on the fucking scale. This is
right.
People that are on life support. Their chests are barely going up and down. He weighs them, and then they would pass away. And he would immediately weigh them after they were clinically declared dead.
Yeah, and he would factor, I remember reading about this a while ago, he would also factor any type of weight loss contributed to like gases being excreted, any type of liquids, because there's certain things, obviously, you're going to start like, your body's going to start breaking down, and naturally, the gases are going to come out. You're going to shit and piss all over the place. So obviously that's going to weigh you a little, that's going to change your weight, but he factored that in as well. So.
Yeah. And the consensus and the average from everything is he was sitting around 21 grams from the second you died, from the moments before you died to the seconds after you died. He was fighting about a 21 gram difference, potentially explaining that we actually have a physical soul that leaves our body whenever our body says, all right, it's our time, it's over.
I mean, you would think that. I mean, because I don't know. I regardless of your religious belief, I think that the majority of people would say that there's some type of a soul or spirit encased in your body.
I don't know, man. It's heavy shit.
You just don't know what happens to that afterwards.
I just find it, I've read about evolution and I've read about, I've read the Bible, and there is no way, it doesn't make sense to me that we went from fucking meandering cavemen monkeys to what we are right now. We have...
I could see it, but...
just look at your phone. Look at the computers we're on right now. We went from living in caves to that. I just don't see how. There's no explanation for me there.
We could all be aliens.
I feel that wholeheartedly. There are some aliens scattered amongst us. Maybe the alien technology is what got us to where we are right now. That's a possibility as well.
Maybe an alien fucked a monkey and here we are.
That would send me that link. I'm clicking on it.
I don't know, man. It's hard. You can scientifically, evolution is, that's, I would say, the most sound example of what's going on. But once again, you don't know. I try to think about this shit because if I start thinking about it, then I'm not going to stop thinking about it.
Exactly.
It's the same thing with death. Like, if I sit around and I think about, like, I'm going to be dead one day.
My fucking biggest fear, man.
It's terrifying. Like, you sit there and you just think, like, I'm not going to exist one day.
And the fear for me is that someone hits the light switch and then it's over.
Right.
Like, I'm gone. I am gone to the people that depend on me. I'm just lights out, and there's nothing after this for me.
Yeah, especially if it's like, like I can see, going, you're 90 years old, dying in your sleep. You're, that's cool. But like,
exactly.
I'm 31. I can imagine just like at 35, just like dying from something crazy. It's like, it's crazy to think about.
Driving on the highway, Clash Royale on the phone. Clashing while you drive. Now, there's one thing I'm still trying to find the sign-up sheet. I want to be a ghost in the afterlife. And Rob,
yes, yeah.
Rob and I have communicated to one another. We are going to let the other one know when we die. If we're ghosts, we're gonna tell the other one, "Hey, I'm here, and I'm doing okay."
Yeah.
But I want to be one of them little nasty sex ghosts. You know what I mean? Because I really like. I really like to sneak in and put your wee-wee in my mouth.
Going from what we've talked about beforehand, I mean, that's something tragic and like instant would almost have to happen. So
yeah, and that's the thing about, in order to be a ghost in the afterlife, there's, from what I read online, because everything you read on the internet is correct, it's all, people that are ghosts are normally products of like a traumatic experience, whether that's a murder or an abrupt work accident. It has to be
something that ends your life in an unnatural way quickly.
That's why whenever you're hear about these,
tethered to that world.
Yeah, you hear about like Gettysburg.
Yeah,
for instance, that's one of the most haunted places in the world. These people, these guys had so much unfinished business whenever they passed away, and that's kind of what the logic is with ghosts, that you come back as a ghost when you have all that unfinished business.
They don't know they're dead. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
So they're just reliving what they knew when they die.
Exactly. And I kind of read about purgatory as well, which Rob pushed me in that direction. I couldn't find a lot about purgatory.
Yeah.
But purgatory is an in-between. So it's kind of...
It's neither here nor there.
Runs along the Catholic faith, okay? And when you die, you go into an in-between. And it's like a training course for heaven. So you are too fucked up to get into heaven when you're on earth. So they put you in purgatory. And that's where you go through the self-realization that, hey, I did not do very well in life. I did not live the way I was supposed to. And they kind of make you see how you should be when you get it. But people that are in purgatory don't go to hell. They are, on the fast track for heaven is the belief.
Okay.
But I'm definitely coming back as a sex ghost, because...
That'd be great.
Have you ever had your dick sucked by a ghost before?
Not that I know of.
I had my dick sucked by a ghost one time. He snuck in, he put my wee-wee in his mouth, and you know what it feels like to have your dick sucked by a ghost?
What's it feel like?
It's like a polar bear with no teeth. It's so cold, and he's got a big old mouth full of winter fresh in there. It's so cold. He gets getting down on it, and then
popped a couple Altoids.
That ghost blowjob. When I'm all said and done with it, I'm waiting for him to say boo, but he's just waiting for me to go goo. You know what I mean? I just go.
Gotta go goo.
He skips the boo, and I go straight to goo.
There comes the goo. Oh,
it comes that goo and that polar bear mouth. That's the nastiest thing.
Oh man. Well, so from here we dive into the wacky world of reincarnation, and going through the research.
What reincarnation?
Going through the research, there was a lot of stuff on the scientific community level, and it was really hard to read because I didn't understand it because I'm fucking stupid.
I feel you, dog.
So some of it's going to be talking about that, but then I kind of just drop off because I lost my attention, and it was just like it wasn't making any sense to me. And I was like, okay, I'm over this. Let's go to some cool stories.
You called me defeated too. You're like, how much research do you have? I got about 4 pages.
I kept finding stuff, and I was writing, and I was like, man, this, you can just tell that I'm like looking at something and just writing it down because I don't know fucking, all this medical shit. There's a lot of doctors and psychologists and everything that's doing their studies. And I was like, well, this is what I got. This is some research filled with a bunch of spelling errors and a bunch of pronunciation errors coming up. So here we go.
YOLO.
So reincarnation, if you do not know, this is the belief that once you die, your mind, soul, or consciousness gets transferred into a new body. Now, this body could be another human. It could be a newborn baby. It could be an animal if you're so fucking lucky.
God.
Yeah, that'd be tight. Now, the idea of reincarnation has early roots, and this goes back to the Vedic period. This is in India from the years 1000 to 600 BC. So this actually predates Buddha and the Mahavira. A Greek philosopher and mathematician, Pythagoras, who was born around 580 BC, stated, this is one of the first mentions, that the soul was immortal, and after death of a physical body, it could own another body, sometimes even including animals.
That sounds fucking stressful.
Very much so.
I want to come back as a wolf.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Sneaking through the garden, eating all the bunny rabbits and your tomatoes and shit.
Imagine being a caveman and just like, I want to come back as a T-Rex. You get fucking hit with a meteor. Well, that was fun. Can our comeback as the meteor?
I want to try this again. Mulligan.
Mulligan. So in the 5th century, Plato, who was a Greek philosopher, taught that the
That's
soul...
shit I scrape off the fucking carpet with a butter knife because my kids don't understand the fucking word no.
He said that the soul is born many times, even through a period of like 10,000 years, and after that, it eventually will part. After more than about 1,600 years, reincarnation saw its largest modern reach, and this is April of 1857. A France doctor of academic excellence named...
Just call him...
named the first name's good. It's like one of those 4-name things. His first name was Hippolyte, which kind of reminds me of like a fat rapper who just got gastric bypass. My name's DJ Hippolyte.
Hippo ain't fat no more. Hippolyte.
Yeah, it's Hippolyte. Hippolyte Leon Denizad Revel claimed that he was reincarnated. He actually published a book called The Book of Spirits and started a new religion known as Spiritism or Cardicism. Now, Dr. Ian Stevenson, this is former professor of psychiatry at the University of Virginia School of Medicine and former chair of the Department of Psychiatry at Neurology, dedicated his life study pretty much to reincarnation. He himself found over 3,000 examples which were shared with the scientific community. Now, the study was titled Birthmarks and Birth Defects Corresponding to Wounds on Deceased Persons. So Dr. Stevenson used facial recognition to analyze similarities between the claimant and their alleged prior incarnation, while also studying birthmarks. So he would talk to the people that thought that they were, that believed that they were reincarnated, and he would look at physical similarities, matching birthmarks, and just overall physical appearances, and seeing if there was any similarities or any claim to that.
Do you have a birthmark?
I do. Yeah, right above my ear on the left side of my head.
I'm not making this up. I have one right on the bottom of the left side of my sack.
Yeah.
Just right where my vagina was in my before life.
That's what that means?
Yeah.
Yeah. He wrote in his study that about 35% of children who claim to remember previous lives have birthmarks and or birth defects that they attribute to wounds on a person whose life the child remembers.
Yeah, that sucks. Imagine like you're a fucking cyclops and you're like, I can't wait to die and get rid of this single eye in the middle of my forehead, and you wake up and you're still a fucking cyclops.
Yeah.
The pissed off cyclops.
I knew this was coming.
I could see it coming with my eye.
In the cases of 210 such children have been investigated. And these are quotes from him here. The birthmarks were usually areas of hairless, puckered skin. Got that little butthole.
Show me your puckered skin, motherfucker.
You got a freckle on your butthole. Some were areas of little or no pigmentation. Others were areas of increased pigmentation.
Dude, the nastiest thing is when someone has a birthmark and it's completely fucking full of hair.
Oh, man.
I saw someone like that. There was a woman with the one on her chin.
Yeah.
It's fucking fuzzier than my fucking... Just look like the bottom of my ass crack.
I feel really bad for the people that have like the huge ones like on their face. Or like any type of like skin condition. I don't remember what it's called, where you lose the pigmentation in your skin. I always feel really bad for those people. Because it's one of those things that they're probably not, happy about.
Getting laid and shit.
You can't do anything about that. Kind of like a small dick, you can't do anything about that.
But then I think certain things kind of makes up our identity. It's kind of...
Exactly.
It makes life beautiful.
It builds character.
Makes people beautiful.
Yeah. Going back to his quotes here. The birth defects were nearly always of rare types. In cases in which a deceased person was identified, the details of whose life unmistakably matched the child's statements, a close correspondence was nearly always found between the birthmarks and or birth defects on a child and the wounds of the deceased person. In 43 of 49 cases in which a medical document, usually a post-mortem report, was obtained, it contained the correspondence between wounds and birthmarks. This is becoming, at this point, we're getting into a lot of the background, so this is kind of where I just stopped because it was hurting my head, and I found some cool stories.
Okay, yeah, that's what people tune in for, the stories, not for us to be scientists.
Yeah, the good one, which I have audio of, I'm going to leave for last because I thought that was probably the most interesting.
We put liquid papers on a bee.
It died.
It died.
So this one is about a 4-year-old here. So in 2009, at the age of 4, Ryan Hammonds began waking up, clutching his chest, and screaming about how his heart exploded in Hollywood. A lot of cocaine. His mother's...
You know how much blow I snorted out of that bitch's ass? So much that it knocked me back to right now. I'm 4 years old.
His mother, Cindy, became intrigued when Ryan revealed more details from a former life. He insisted that he once lived in a house in Hollywood on a street that had the name Rock in it somewhere, where he had 3 sons and friends named the Senator Fives. Excuse me. One day... So keep in mind, this kid's 4.
Keep your kids off fucking YouTube, people.
So Cindy was going through a book of featuring pictures from old Hollywood. And then Ryan happened to see over her shoulder and got really excited and identified one of the men in the photo named George and another as himself.
That's him. Right there.
Cindy contacted a psychiatrist because she thought her kid was fucking losing his mind.
I think I need to have my son put down.
And this psychiatrist was from UVA Medical Center, who conducts research on reincarnation. The psychiatrist verified the man in the photo was a film star named George Raft, and the other man was named Martin. That sucks.
How convenient.
Yeah. The Martin, Martyn. And he died in 1964. Now, upon contacting Martin's daughter, she confirmed that Martin was a Hollywood agent. He lived on North Roxbury Drive. He said it had a street name that had rocks in it.
What is love?
He had 3 sons and once met with New York Senator Irving Ives. After the meeting with Martin's daughter, Ryan lost interest in his Hollywood memories. He was standoffish at the meeting and told his mother afterwards his daughter's energy had changed. The psychiatrist's explanation: upon seeing people from the past that have moved on, reincarnated children gain closure and forget about their former existence.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, a couple of these, actually, all of these stories that I have, well, these 3 stories that I'm telling you besides the audio, are all children. So it's like, it begs the question, like, how would they know about this stuff? And I believe most of these stories are either, pre-internet, but I mean, even if they're not, to be able to give some like details like this, it's oddly specific.
Remotely specific details leads you to wonder that maybe this shit's not fake.
Yeah, it very well could be. From here we go to a 5-year-old, and this is in a Chicago fire. So at first, Erica Ruhlman laughed off that her 5-year-old son Luke's had odd tendencies to call his toys and objects Pam. Think of the Step Brothers skit.
Yeah. Is that pan or pammed? I'm sorry.
The N is silent. So she was also unconcerned by his comments about having once been a girl. He would say that he had black hair when he was a girl, or that he wore the same exact earrings that his mom wore when he was a girl. So out of curiosity, Erica eventually asked Luke who Pam was.
That would have got me an ass whipping in my house. I'm going to beat the fucking earrings off you, boy.
Your name ain't Nicole, it's Nick. And this is what the little Pam said. I was, he said. Well, I used to be, but I died and I went up to heaven. I saw God, and then eventually God pushed me back down, and when I woke up, I was a baby and you had named me Luke. After pressing him for more details, Luke told his mother that he lived in Chicago and he took the train a lot, and he happened to die in a fire. After mentioning his death, Luke made a hand motion indicating someone jumping from a window.
Jesus fuck, man.
When Erica punched the information into a search engine, she discovered a news story about a fire in the Paxton Hotel in Chicago. In March of 1993, 19 people died in a fire at the building, and a woman named Pam Robinson perished when she jumped out of a window. Oh, to this day, Erica can't explain how Luke would have known about a fire in Chicago. He had never been to the city, and she had never discussed it with him. So, while the haunting story of Pam Robinson could be a coincidence, it's enough that Erica believed him.
That's some pretty heavy stuff right there, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. And from here we go to even younger 3-year-old. This one's called 3-year-old murderer.
3-year-olds can't talk.
So a 3-year-old boy in the Golan Heights, caused quite a stir when he claimed that he was murdered in a past life. A boy, a member of the Druze ethnic group, which believed in reincarnation, had a long red birthmark on his head. And this goes back to the study with the birthmarks. According to some Druze beliefs, birthmarks indicate where death wounds had occurred in a past life. So when the boy learned how to talk, he started telling elders that he had been killed by an axe blow in a previous life. The boy was led through several villages to see if any of them were familiar to him. Once he found a familiar village, he claimed that he knew exactly who killed him. And this is in quotes here. He says, "Suddenly the boy walked up to a man and said, 'Aren't you?' and then says a name. And the man answers, 'Yes.' And the boy says, 'I used to be your neighbor. We had a fight and you killed me with an axe.'"
Holy shit.
Eli told me how the man suddenly had gone white as a sheet. The 3-year-old boy then said, "I even know where he buried my body."
No way.
And this is an article I think is called Children Who Have Lived Before Reincarnation Today. So afterwards, the boy led the elders to a pile of stones under which they found a body with an axe wound in its head. He also led them to a spot where the axe was buried, reportedly forcing his killer to confess to the crime.
No way.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man.
Being ratted out by a 3-year-old reincarnate.
I'm gonna tell you something right here, buddy. This guy right here, he's the one that hit me right in the fucking face with the axe. So if you can shut the door on this case because he's sitting right here.
That's great.
It's my 3-year-old voice.
I hope you sound like that. And then last, we have audio. And this was probably one of the first ones that I found. And I don't even really want to tell anything about it because it's a really cool story. Let's just go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage.
When I was about 2 years old, I told my mother that my name was not really Barbro, it was Anna.
Barbara was born in 1954 in Sweden to a Christian family, and they had no idea who Anne Frank was because the diary of Anne Frank had not yet been translated and published in Sweden.
I know my name was Anna Frank, but they insist calling me on Barbro. And my parents insisted me to call them Mom and Pa, and I knew they were not my real parents.
Well, her parents thought this was all fantasy until something happened when she was 10 years old. By this time, the parents knew who Anne Frank, the historic figure, was. And they went on a tour of European cities, including Amsterdam, where the Anne Frank house is located.
We were at the hotel room, and my father said that let's do the Anne Frank house first. So I called for a cab. And I found myself saying to them, "We don't need a cab, we're not far away." And I knew exactly where we were.
And her parents said, "How could you know? You've never been here." And she said, "Well, I know. Let me show you."
Devil!
And she took him by the hand and led him on a 10-minute walk through the winding streets of Amsterdam directly to the Anne Frank house.
And then when we came up towards the house, I saw that the steps outside were different, were changed. So I stopped and I said, "It's strange, they have changed those steps." And I came into that house. It was the most horrifying feeling I have ever had. Because all of a sudden I was back to my dreams. I recognized everything I had seen ever since I was a little child.
And Barbara looked at a wall in a room where Anne had spent time, and she said to her mother, "Look, the pictures of the movie stars are still on the wall."
I saw all these pictures from newspaper magazines that was cut out, and it was from movie stars and song stars and things. And I said to my mother, "Look, the pictures are still there." And it was like almost coming home. And she said, "What pictures?" And she looked on the wall, and I looked on the wall, and there were no pictures there.
She got confused, started to cry, and the mother said, "Well, let's ask the tour guide." And the tour guide said, "Yes, indeed, the photos that Anne Frank had clipped are normally on that wall, but we took them down because people were touching them, taking them. We're going to put them under glass and then put them back." And her parents at that point realized she was not having fantasies, that she was having memories of a past lifetime. Barbara not only had the memories, she also replicated the talent of Anne Frank and was a child prodigy writer.
It was everything from poetry to little stories, thoughts about the higher power, reincarnation, where we came from, where we were going, but nothing that I had memories from being Anne Frank or anything, because I had decided not to talk about it anymore.
And Barbara had her first book published at age 12, and she had another 8 or 9 books published in her teenage years. And her first book became the best-selling prose book in Swedish history. And guess what? Barbara has the same face as Anne Frank.
There's certainly evidence from our cases that there can be these memories from past lives that are in children. Now, evidence is not the same thing as proof, but there's no question that there is empirical evidence for it.
Pretty crazy.
That's the work of the fucking devil right there,
Yeah,
buddy.
that goes back into the, once again to the study that the doctor did where you'll have facial similarities between the deceased and the reincarnate.
Oh man, that's fucking crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's real weird.
I'll go out on a limb and say I have absolutely no recollection myself of ever even the hint of a reincarnate like I was in a life before this.
Well, they say that I think we've talked about this in other episodes, but they say that could be it's believed that could be deja vu. Is that it's memories from a previous life that you've repeated.
Right. I did read that when we were doing our research here.
Yeah, so I mean that very well could be it. It's whenever you have a really weird deja vu, it's a really weird like deep feeling.
Yeah.
You just feel like something's weird and that you've done it before, and
then
it just feels it's like just a deep like weird feeling.
And the other end of that, they say the deja vu is actually just you are in the exact same spot you were before, and your brain is trying to recall that moment at the exact same time it's trying to take in the moment that it's in right now, and it just kind of crosses the wires. But deja vu is such a different feeling than that to me, because whenever I've had some deja vu before where it fucking nearly knocks me off my feet, man.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, whoa, what the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah, and you get that feeling sometimes, and you're like, I don't remember this happening, but at the same time, something is. Yeah. It doesn't feel right.
Right.
It's just like weird, like something's slightly off, but you feel like you've been in the same situation, but it's just off. Yeah, deja vu is another thing we probably could have covered a little bit, which kind of ties into it. But yeah, overall, it's just weird. The stories of reincarnation, it's just like it makes you wonder, like what could it be if it's not that?
Right.
You really don't know, and
there's absolutely no explanation for it.
No.
For like the little kid that remembered the stuff that went down in Hollywood. There's no way for a little kid that can't even read. Yeah, I have a 6-year-old.
From the 60s,
she can barely read. 4-year-olds don't read.
Right, and they don't come up with random stories that happen to be true. With no way that they would know it. It's just odd and very strangely specific.
Unless it's the work of Satan.
Unless it's the work of Satan. So, what I was gonna say with what this just takes you to. I know we had that one person talk about a while back that they want to talk about what our overall feelings were at the end of the episodes.
Yeah.
Me personally, the afterlife is one of those things that you can kind of. There's so many different things that it could be, and the fact that we're never really gonna know, and there's no way to completely prove it
until it's too late when Jesus comes back, and then you're fucked.
Yeah, exactly. Until that happens. So, I think that I'm open to the idea that whatever you think is going to happen to you is what's going to happen.
And that goes along the lines of the scientific analysis that I read, that whatever you personally think heaven is to you, whether it's traveling down the lit tunnel at 1,000,000 miles an hour, whether it's
climbing the staircase to pearly gates, or
you are going to experience that euphoria the moment the lights turn off.
Yeah, or just like once you pass away, just being surrounded by, loved ones that you've lost throughout your life. That very well could be it. And I, without getting any type of religious or anti-religious spiel, I like to think that whatever happens when we die is whatever we would like to happen.
Sure.
If
Hopefully.
you're uneasy about death and you want to continue living, maybe you do get reincarnated.
Yeah. I need to do that.
That's what I'm saying.
But I need to be 30 years old though. Or maybe like 17. That would be cool.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Just hit the fucking reset button.
22 is a good age.
Would you hit the reset button if you could?
Like start all over from being a baby?
Start you back in kindergarten.
Would I have any knowledge of what life?
Everything.
Everything that I've already done?
You know everything that you know right now.
Uh-huh.
But you're a 6-year-old with a little, hair in your penis yet. A little baby dick.
I would.
Mean, you might have a great big giant dick as a baby.
I didn't. Still don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would.
Wow, that's intriguing.
Yeah. I think I would.
Crazy. I would definitely lift more weights. Amongst other things.
I don't know what I don't know what I would do. I don't really know what I would do different. Obviously, you as you get older, especially once you're in your upper teens and your early 20s, you learn a lot of hard lessons about life that school doesn't teach you.
Yeah, I would say the late teens was the learning experience for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had my first kid when I was 21, so
I think I did too.
So that's kind of like that was obviously a huge learning.
I handled that well though.
I was happy about it.
There was no hitch in my giddy up right there, but
no, I was all about it.
Just the coming of age, like, okay, mom and dad aren't paying your bills anymore.
Yeah.
You're gonna kind of do this thing on your own, and that was kind of
the whole, just knowing what you're getting into with the whole adolescence era is crazy. Because I mean, it's such a hard time.
It is. It's a weird time.
It's weird. I mean, your hormones are going crazy, and you think that life's going to be over, or you think everything.
Yeah. Whenever I see, I have teenagers in my family and teenage girls, and sometimes I just see their heart hurting, man, just like going through a breakup, and I just say,
you hate to be that person to say like, hey, it's going to be okay.
Because people said that to me
you're
whenever
gonna,
I was.
You're going to get over, and you're like, you don't know what I'm going through.
We're so fucking bad.
If you happen to be younger and you're listening to us, for real, it's everybody goes through it. It's going to be okay.
It hurts. It is going to be okay. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
You're going to eventually find someone when you get older that's going to, they're going to like the same stuff that you like.
Yeah.
But then you're going to get together, and then years down the road, they're going to fucking hate everything you do. Life's going to go full circle. You're going to go through that heartache again.
Yeah.
They're going to hate the way you sound when you fucking sleep. They're going to hate the way you fucking chew. They're going to hate the way you order your fucking combo meal from McDonald's. They're going to hate that you sometimes order your soda with no ice. They're going to hate that you leave your hair clippings in the sink in the shower. They're going to hate the way that you don't pick up your dirty clothes in the fucking house.
Oh, wow. We just had an intervention.
I'm okay. But yeah, I think if given the opportunity, I wouldn't go back and rinse and repeat. I think I would just keep it all the way that it is right now, because I would be fearful that I would change so much and fuck so much stuff up. Because
that's true.
Think about how much more fun you would have knowing then what you know now.
Right. And I mean, I guess looking on the other side, if it's the option of reliving life or waiting to see my loved ones once they cross over, then looking that way.
Oh man, that's a tough one right there. Reset. Let's do it again. One more time, fam. Let's try this again.
These kids suck. Let's have more.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if it's one of I think I would definitely do it over if
in that instance, if you get to where you're going and they say,
but it's either one or the other.
Yeah. Think about what if that's what it is. What if you get there and then there's a fucking fork in the road that says go back and do it again as someone else?
And never like see your like loved ones from that life again.
Possibly as a groundhog.
Oh.
Or
just not knowing what you're going to come back as if reincarnation is like the real deal.
You go back as
a toaster.
Dan Bilzerian or what's his name? The Instagram billionaire Dan Bilzerian or whatever.
I don't know.
He shoots guns and has all kinds
Oh,
of...
yeah. With the crazy veneers.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah. He's got that big beard. Is that the guy?
Yep.
Yeah.
You're going to go back as him? You could possibly go back as him. You could possibly be a hammerhead shark with no penis.
Just slaying tuna all day long.
Yeah. Or you can come up here and kick it with Grandpa and let him tell you about his war medals and shit. What do you want to do?
Man.
This is
deep.
It is deep. This is something meant for a Patreon episode.
I know. We're getting deep right now.
So write us and tell us what you think. What do you think happens in the afterlife? What do you want to happen in the afterlife? If you think it's if you just think the lights go off and that's it, don't fucking write us because that's not intriguing at all.
Yeah, or if you say you want to be reincarnated as like Jennifer Lawrence's dildo, yeah, that's that. Don't we all?
Yeah.
That goes without saying.
God. Write us, let us know, right? Send us an email, brohiopodcast@gmail.com, and us on Facebook.
Let's have a discussion.
Yeah, we want to talk about it.
We're gonna round up these poop stories too. They're still trickling in, man.
We could just like we did a paranormal experiences episode.
Maybe we'll do that for Patreon. Maybe we'll talk about a bunch of poop stories.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah, that could definitely cover a whole episode.
But write us and let us know what you think happens in the afterlife. What you want to happen in the afterlife.
With all religious views.
Yeah.
And
if you think something completely off the fucking wall happens that we didn't touch on,
that's even better.
Write us, let us know.
Yeah.
We'd be really excited to hear about that.
That'd be great.
Because I want to be fucking intrigued. We gave him an hour and a half, Rob.
Hey.
On an episode we didn't think we'd be able to cover a half an hour with. So
we do talk a lot of shit, so it's cool.
Thank you so much for listening and making this such an incredible journey for Rob Dog and I. We are beyond thankful.
We appreciate the absolute shit out of each and every one of you
guys. You guys are loyal beyond. I had many good friends in my life, including Rob, but to know that there is an entire nation out there,
an army,
full of just incredible, awesome people. And I'm not talking about the people. I know there's tons of people we don't talk to, but there's a lot of people we talk to on a daily basis on the reg that just all they want to do is fucking help us, man. And that's incredible. They're like, let me help you research. Let me do this, do that.
Or just, have a conversation.
Yeah. And then we have people writing us for relationship advice, which we can't help out with that all the time. No. Because we suck at our own relationships.
For real.
Every time we record this podcast, we're on the brink of a divorce. But here we are, weathering the storm, taking the hail on the head. Just out here standing in it, getting it done for you guys.
Doing guy things.
Yep. At least we don't hunt. We don't do anything. We don't hunt or fish.
No, man. I spend my time on YouTube and
we don't play video games.
I sleep. Yeah. I very rarely play video games.
Sometimes after my wife goes to sleep, I take a bed sheet, I tie it around my neck, and I hang upside down and I jerk off. Like I pretend I'm a bat and I jerk off. And that's one thing I perfected while they were on vacation is I learned to jack off like a bat. I'll get a fruit platter and I'll just fucking hang upside down and stuff my mouth full of strawberries.
What's the guy's name that died that way?
James Carradine.
Yeah, there you go.
David Carradine. I don't know his name.
Something Carradine. Yeah.
Something Carradine. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll just hang upside down from my feet with a fruit platter, just shoving strawberries in my mouth, jerking off. It's like a little bat.
That's fun. One hand doing the stuff and the other one doing the stroking.
No, I completely fill my mouth up and then use 4 fingers. Both hands, 4 fingers. Because I'm not a fist jerker.
Yeah.
I'm a finger jerker. That's where your penis is so small that you have to use your fingers to get after it.
Your fingertips?
Like you're trying to set some nipples off.
Yeah, like you're milking a cow.
Yeah, or milking a cat. I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? That's how I have to masturbate.
It's just like index finger and thumb.
Like I'm milking a 5-pound cat.
Your tweezer in your dick.
Mew. I even make that sound when I'm doing it.
You mew. 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 Well, thank you guys very much for listening. We appreciate the hell out of you once again. October 27th, if you're in Cincinnati area, or if you ever want to come to Cincinnati, it is a beautiful city.
It is
filled with beautiful people.
Yeah,
it's why spend your Saturday night anywhere else? We love you. Come join us.
We love you.
Thank you guys.